Good evening. Good evening. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. Today, we are going to look into a couple of things on the current stage. And in looking into these things on the current stage, we are going to actually take some time to try to tie all of this in together as well. So thank you guys for being here tonight. This is Redeeming the Time. That's the name of the show. And we're glad you guys can make it. Tonight, we are going to get into a couple of things, like I said a few minutes ago. It's happening currently. And actually, it's going to be a tie-in for things that's been happening over the last few months, but it's slowly but surely starting to come to a head. So that being said, let's go ahead and open up in the word of prayer, and let's go ahead and get this ball rolling. Father God, thank you for just allowing us to be here tonight, to be able to look at the things that are happening in our world through the lens of Scripture. We just ask that you would just watch over us and keep us, Lord. Bless us, be with us, Lord. Open our hearts and our minds that we would hear what you would say tonight. We just thank you for all that you're doing for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So tonight, if everyone knows what's going on, it is the State of the Union address. The primaries were held on Tuesday. So I hope everyone had a chance to get out and vote. Not mainly care less about that much about the primaries themselves, because normally you're going to vote who you vote for in that regards. But voting for those who serve our best interests on the state and county and local level, or if you in Louisiana, parish level, so that you would be able to affect your immediate community. But tonight we get to hear from our dear poor president, who is going to proceed to give us a word from his golden throne, as it seems to be. I really hate the State of the Union stuff. It's almost like they treat it like some king is stepping down from their rulership palace or whatever, and they have to come give word to the common folk, right? Or their sycophants either cheer and their opponents boo, or vice versa, right? Hey, Butterfly, how you doing? Welcome. And so one of the things that you actually get to see tonight is you're going to have is of course, this is the year of the election for president of the United States. And one of the things you're going to see is you're going to see tonight that if it has this, it probably is about to start. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock. So they do their little pomp and circumstance, march on down. They probably gave him enough Valium and ketamine or whatever to kind of up his, mental function, so that he'll get up there and he'll say some things and probably won't stray too far from the teleprompter, God willing. But he's going to come up and he's going to give his take on how our quote unquote country is doing at this moment. And he's going to spin yarns about how great the economy is, how much that they are working toward solidifying the country and the border. He's going to talk about how much they've given and to Israel and Gaza, and he's going to talk about how we need to keep supporting Ukraine and blah 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 blah. He's going to go up there and he's going to do that. And then on the other side, after he's finished, saying everything that he has to say, then we'll get some token Republican that'll get up there and say some words about how garbage they are and this and that and the third, and how they're forcing the country down the short down, a long walk off a short pier type of situation, and the country's going to crap and everything else, and we need to make sure that this is the last State of the Union that Biden ever gives, and blah 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 blah. That's what the talk is going to be tonight on both sides. And I can honestly tell you, honest and truly, in my opinion, both sides are full of crap. I don't like neither one of them. Don't like the one side because they're too far progressive. They're too far to the far left, to the point where they're just pushing agendas. And in their pushing of agendas, they are moving things further and further off of a cliff to a point of destruction. The other side is just as bad, but they feel that they're like the they're like the student driver instructor on the car, right? That's in the student driving vehicle. If it doesn't look like they're going to stop at the stop sign in time, they'll push their brake, right? But they'll push their brake to slow down the car, and sometimes only to make a complete stop if it looks like it's going to be a wreck or something like that. And the student is oblivious to anything that's going on for the most part. And this is kind of how the Republicans are. They are on that bandwidth that they really don't care that much, the majority of them, about the country. They're about the same boat as the Democrats. They just don't show it because their constituency, if they actually knew, would vote them out of office. And so they play the role of, we're for conservatism, we're for the rights of the common man, to get government out of their hands and out of their hair, and blah 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 blah. And that's pretty much a lie, right? The closest person that you have, there's only about two guys that's in the whole United States Congress that actually believes that, and those two guys are pretty much Rand Paul, and I think the other guy might be Chip Roy, but really and truly, the majority of the time it's just Rand Paul. Everybody else, they're jockeying for a position. Rand Paul doesn't really care. He just tells it like it is. And if we had a country full of Rand Pauls, then I think a lot of this stuff would have been off the we wouldn't be going through a lot of the stuff that we're going through, because the people would be truly represented. But hey, what's going on, Double R? How's it going, man? Welcome. So what we're going to have today basically is, as Biden goes to, President Biden goes to give his discussion, his State of the Union and everything else, one of the things that we have seen especially over the last year, but including the last few months, I would say last 6 months or so, it's really been hectic. And those things are basically what is happening as far as the quote unquote invasion, as people like to call it, of the country. But it's being passively done, and it's all being done in the name of quote unquote being kind to humanity. And that is one of now this thing here has a very serious in my opinion, this has a very serious um, consequence to it. A lot of the things that people talk about, they leave certain things out, and we're going to touch on this. But I want you guys to see this, and I want you guys to understand exactly what's going on. There's a lot of people who won't believe what I'm saying. There will be some that do. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't know, you will know. Don't get your feelings hurt. So here's where we're going to start. One of the key things that is happening within the US today is the issues that are happening on our borders. Not just the southern border. It's a big, huge issue at the southern border for sure. But it's also what's happening on the northern border and also what's happening on both the east and the west. Here's why. When you have people who come in freely into your country that are not vetted, you never know. First of all, you don't know where their loyalties lie. That's number one. Number two, because they're able to do this, you now create the abilities to have what are called sleeper cells within your environment. It doesn't mean that everybody that comes across the border is a terrorist. It doesn't mean that everyone that comes across the border is, someone that's looking to do ill and everything else. But what you do know is, even though it's not all, there are quite a few. So we're going to show some things. And I want you to take stock of what you see tonight. I want you to take stock of it. And you tell me at the end if I'm lying or if I'm not lying. Point certain things out as we go through this. So, first one up tonight. This was from 5 months ago. And this happened in the city of Chicago. Now, the city of Chicago has had its run-ins with a lot of different things. But in the city of Chicago, there is this thing that's going on. And the thing that's going on in the city of Chicago, people have become restless. They have become restless. Why have they become restless? Well, we're about to see why they've become restless. Because the city of Chicago, this was done by the people who were put in charge alongside the current federal administration. So I want you guys to see this. This is from a town hall meeting that happened about 5 months ago, because people were upset. People were completely off. I mean, they were completely beside themselves on what went down. So let's see here. Audio. Okay. Hey, Vagoda, how's it going? Great to see you down, man. So now, note, this is one of the aldermen that are there, and I want you guys to listen to this very briefly, and we're going to set the stage of what's going to happen. So, one of the things that's happened is that the city of Chicago, the residents of areas, I believe, that were on the south side of Chicago, there was an area that was a school that had gotten shut down. And that was the first thing. There was a school that had gotten shut down because they said they had no money to fund it. But all of a sudden, when the migrants got shipped in, the illegal aliens got shipped in, then all of a sudden they fixed that building up, got it all set up and everything, and put people into it. There was also a place that you see called Amundsen Park. And Amundsen Park is an area where the kids would go and play and everything else. They set that up for the migrants, legal aliens, right? And one of the reasons why they were saying that, and the deal was there was a recreation center there and areas for the kids to play in the parks and everything else. And what they wound up doing was saying that they took that away. Now, out of all the places in Chicago they could do this, why did they do it here? Right? And we're gonna hear what they had to say very briefly. We continue.
At this particular location.
Now, notice what they are chanting in this whole thing that they have going. They are chanting, "You work for us. You work for us." Why are they chanting that? It's because they have been trying to get them to do stuff in this neighborhood. Now, this neighborhood is predominantly black. They've been trying to get stuff done in this neighborhood for quite a bit. And it did not work. It was always an excuse. But now, all of a sudden, they have money to house illegals. Now, listen to this.
Auntie, I work for the Chicago Park District for the North Region, and I'm here to support the staff for Amundsen Park and the surrounding parks.
I'm the commander of the 25th District.
Commissioner Torres.
My name is John Robertson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the City of Chicago.
First, start off by saying thank everyone for coming out. This, in my opinion, has been one of the most.
Now, I'm going to say this. Keep in mind, these are people that have been, with the exception, I believe, of that commander. The majority of those people that are on that stage right there were voted in by the people that were in this district. They voted these people in, right? Now, here's the deal. The mayor is not there. So they left the John Robertson guy as the fall guy for this. Okay? We continue.
Difficult situations that we've had in the city of Chicago this past Friday, and so that I could chronologically let you know as far as what I have found out. This past Friday, I spoke to the mayor's office, the mayor's deputy mayor, or the deputy chief of staff, who informed me Friday morning that we were going to have a shelter at this particular location.
Now, he said, I was just informed about this. Now, if you believe that, I have some land to sell you. It's called the Brooklyn Bridge. I own it. I can sell it to you. You can work something out. Very good price. We continue.
You're gonna be allowed to speak. And
oh, also let me let you know that pretty much everyone from the mayor on down for this whole, the people in this area, you saw the guy standing up there. He was the alderman. You had other people that were in the air in the cabinet of the mayor and everything else. The majority of them are black. So you can't use race for this. Okay. We continue.
is the speaker, when I spoke with the deputy chief of staff, she informed me that we would have this shelter here at this location, and I strongly object to it, and I object to it now. and I'm not saying that, because I want your applause. I'm saying that because
He is saying that because he wants their applause. And he's acting like his hands are tied. And to a certain degree, in a certain point, it technically kind of is, but then it's not. Trust me, he is profiting off of this.
we cannot take a resource from our community. I have told the mayor this. I've told the superintendent of our parks this, and I will state it to the top of the roof. We cannot take resources from the Black community, a community invested in. Now, I say this, those seniors that come to this park know that I come here the fourth Thursday of every month with them. I know of the programming that's in this park, but there's so many other reasons why this park should not, and not just this park, but any park, should not be converted to a migrant shelter. First of all, we deal with security issues. Now, particularly in this area, our police officers.
Okay, so he's given his statements about why it shouldn't be done and all of these different things. I tell you what, just to make sure, because I know I'm probably having a few issues on my end. If you guys can hear this video, give me a 1 in the chat real quick. If it's breaking up or something, let me know. I'll wait. All right, thank you. Good. Awesome. Just making sure I wasn't breaking up or anything was going crazy. The perils of technology. So to this point, so he goes on and he talks a little bit about what he cannot do and all the things that is beyond what he can do. And, he kind of gives a little rundown behind all. And so in giving this rundown, he basically talks about what he's trying to get accomplished. But we're going to fast forward a little bit because I want you guys to hear things that are happening.
Now, guys, hold on, stop. I want you to know, I want you to know that I support our mayor. He is our
Mayor's a black guy, just FYI. This is not everything that he's saying. The reason why he's saying that, he's trying to play on both sides of the railroad track, right? Oh, I'm for the people here, blah, 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 but I support the mayor because he knows where his bread is buttered. So for them to have anything done for his community, he knows it has to go through the mayor's office for approval and everything else. So even if he doesn't like it, he is going to, quote unquote, stand there and in many ways kind of fall on the sword. But if you don't believe his hand is not getting greased to make this kind of go through very nicely, you would be sorely mistaken.
allow not a shelter on the Austin community. Speak.
They got to start letting people come up and say things.
Mr. Glover, you're going to get an opportunity to speak.
No. Turn the mic on.
Now, before this goes off, now keep in mind, these people said this stuff. We are a sanctuary city. We are this. We are for and they would call them, we are for the migrants. We for those trying to get a better life and this and this and this. That was perfectly fine as long as it stayed in Arizona and New Mexico and Texas and Florida and Louisiana and places like that. As long as it stayed down there, they were perfectly fine. They were perfectly fine with sanctuary cities and everything else. The people in those states were saying, we can't support this, man. This is insane. There are too many people coming up here. This is crazy. This is retarded. We shouldn't be doing this. We should be closing off the borders. We should be protecting our people. They're running drugs through here. They're attacking us and breaking into our homes and doing this and this and this and this and this, right? Oh no, y'all just hate people. Y'all red states, blah 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 blah. Mexico's like, we're not red, we're blue. We can't take this. Well, we open our arms to all people who seek asylum, blah 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 blah. Okay, fine. So then those states started transferring all of the illegals that were rounded up to those quote unquote sanctuary cities and states. And now, where do you think they went to? Did they put them in the affluent areas? Did they put them in the most affluent areas of the city where they could go and have those people that were so affluent take care of them? No. They dumped them all in the areas that were considered the less thans, the low income areas, the lower middle class areas, some of the middle class areas. That's where they brought them to. And now this is apparently where this area is, over in Chicago. This is, from what I've gathered, this is one of what would be considered a low middle class to almost to the other side of the track location, right? Mainly black, but this is where it was. And so here we go. Now these people are wanted things to happen in their communities, and they're seeing it being taken away. And they're seeing it taken away for people who are not even U.S. citizens. It'd have been different if they were U.S. citizens that got displaced. These people are not U.S. citizens. And these people are feeling a certain way about this right now. So here we go.
Tired of hearing politicians. Turn the mic on. Turn the mic on. Good evening, everyone. I'll show you how disrespectful this is. On the 5 o'clock news, they projected that the migrants would be here by Saturday. Look, welcome to the welcoming city. Well, I got to tell you, only certain areas are welcoming. That's us. They want us. They say they want to use this park, but let me tell you, LaSalle Street, Clark Street, all the office buildings, nobody wants to be in the loop anymore. They all want to move west because of new buildings with better amenities. Those buildings are empty right now with water, heat, and everything. But they don't want the migrants down there. We're not anti-migrants, but this is so disrespectful for them to just sit up here with this crap and we're supposed to listen to it. You know what? If you would had your right mind and see a crowd like this, you would say to yourself, they don't want it. But no, these politicians, they think that they could just do everything. And see, another thing is you all's representative, I can say what I want to say because I take nothing from them. I don't need nothing from them. Okay? They have disrespected us, our community. They're going to tell us and just shove it down our throats. And we're supposed to like it. Yeah, you all are sitting there. And another thing, they do not have a plan. And so many migrants come in, they say, let's take this. Let's take that. Now you see a viable park here that's functioning well in a nice area. Say this was a bad area, they wouldn't be here. Okay? Another thing I want you to understand how we support this park. This park needed air conditioners. You think we went to the park district? No, because we don't need them. We bought them. Supplant this whole park. They needed a stove and a refrigerator. We did it, the Advisory Council. They needed a microwave. We give Christmas parties, and I don't ask these politicians for a dime. And this place is packed. See, they don't like people like me because I'm not taking their crap. And and Brandon Johnson and Mayor and Alderman Terry Farrell, they wear this hat, and it's there. And all this crap about I just got a notice of that. Well, if they don't give you that much respect as alderman, you don't need to be alderman.
Can't disagree with anything the guy said. Can't disagree with anything the guy said. Called it like it was. And so when you see this kind of stuff happening, right, people go, well, that's the policies of that city. That's the policies of that state, blah, 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 blah. It's not. It's not the policies of that city. It's not the policies of that state. It's a policy that's coming from the federal government that's going to give them kickbacks for however many migrants that they hold there. However many illegal aliens are there, they're getting kickbacks on this. This is a push because this is what you have to understand is that this whole thing is being set up because, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, in certain areas, there has been talk of things in regards to reparations. We want reparations, especially in the Black community. There's been this big push, this big pro-Black push of we want our reparations. We want our reparations. And they've gotten pretty loud with the whole reparations thing. The only problem is this. Right now, we need your voting block. The minute we can put in enough people that's going to nix your voting block, then we don't have to cater to you anymore. We will let you go over and be whoever you're going to be and try to make it out to yourself for yourself. That's why most low income areas, when you go and you look at them, they're very third world. It is very third world. It's rare that you come across a low income area that's very nice. It's rare. The majority of the time, it's like going into a third world environment. This is insane. So we will not cater to you. We will give you lip service. And every time we get ready to take a position of office and everything else, we will talk about how great everything is. And we will talk about how wonderful everything is. And if you just elect us, we will do this for you and do that for you. But the minute they get into positions where they can do this, they don't do it. They never do it. They'll give slave movies on TV. They'll give you a couple of pittance out there for to make you feel like they care. But when it comes to the brass tacks, nothing happens. Look no further than to what happened. And this was about 5 months. This whole thing that we're playing up here right now, we're not going to play the whole thing, but the whole thing that went down over in Chicago was 5 months ago. It has literally, the whole area, the whole situation has gotten worse. Crime has skyrocketed more. Things have happened that was even worse than what it was. And he is right. He is 100% right. They don't care. They all about being all in for the specific agenda of the time. Greetings. The wandering prophet, Von Bryant, is in the building. Welcome, my brother. So that was, and like I said, that was 5 months ago. And again, like I said, they tell you all of these things and they give you the pieces of how it's just they'll tell you that, hey, it's nothing but, it's a lot of women and children crossing and they're looking for better lives. There's a lot of families crossing and looking for better lives. And the children, my children, we got to take care of the children, right? But again, that's not the case. Most people will say, oh, it's Mexican. It's Mexican. It's the Mexicans that are coming over, and it's not Mexicans. It's not Mexicans that are coming over. The people who are coming across that border are not just quote unquote Mexicans. The people who are coming across the border are everything but Mexican. We have some that are like from Venezuela that have escaped from that place, but you've got everyone from people from the Middle East. You got people from the Middle East. You got people from places like Haiti, places like Cuba. You got people that are coming in from areas of Africa. You got people that's coming in from places like, people who are Russian. They've gotten Ukrainians. They've got, you name it, it's coming across the border. And also that's coming across the border are these people here. Most people don't think about, and they're not only coming across the southern border, but they're also coming across the northern border. And this is from, I think this happened about a few months back. They were talking, about a month ago. It was a clip from 60 Minutes, as you can see. Notice what they say. Check it out.
Migrants arriving at the southern border is unprecedented. Last year, U.S. Customs and Border Protection recorded 2.5 million instances of detaining or turning away people attempting to cross into the United States from Mexico. So what's the fastest growing group among them? Chinese migrants.
Yes, the same Chinese people that were supposedly considered to be right now enemies of the U.S. There was I don't know if they're going to talk about it here, but there was a bus load of about 300 that were seen trying to cross, a bus load of them that were seen trying to cross over. So keep in mind, this is happening. They're crossing in areas that are not even, when they gave that number about the checkpoints, again, they gave the number about the checkpoints, talking about 2 million. That's people that's getting to those checkpoints and asking for asylum. Not the one where they're crossing over the other dangerous areas, where there was basically just open field to cross. They crossed over river areas, more rocks, more danger, and they cross over into the U.S. Right? This is what you saw a lot of. We continue.
Yes, you heard that right, Chinese. We saw large groups, including many from the middle class, come through a 4-foot gap at the end of a border fence 60 miles east of San Diego. The illegal entryway is a new route for those hoping to live in America.
The story will continue in a moment.
Just after sunrise, we saw the first group of migrants make their way from Mexico through a gap between the 30-foot steel border fence and rocks. Ducking under.
I want you guys to count the women to men that are coming across. I want you guys to count this.
Under a bit of razor wire and into the United States. We were surprised to see the number of people coming through from China, nearly 7,000 miles away. Careful, watch. our cameras, and at one point, this armed Border Patrol agent standing 25 feet away did not deter them. So, how old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
This man, a college graduate, told us he hoped to find work in Los Angeles. He said his trip from China took 40 days. What countries did you go through?
Thailand, Morocco, Ecuador, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua.
Jeez.
They basically went through, notice his path, what he said he went through. They left through China, they went through Thailand, they got into Thailand. Then they went from Thailand over into Africa, from Africa over to Central, okay, the Central America area, and then traveled up through Central America all the way in. Now, keep in mind, again, he says he's a 20-year-old student. That's what he says. He's a 20-year-old student. There's no way to verify this. There is no way to verify this. So, again, if you notice, there were no decrepit old people walking up there, coming in. Nope. They all looked like they were basically from the ages of 20 to at most 40. Military age in China.
"30 minutes later, a smuggler's SUV raced along the border fence and dropped another group at the same spot.
And don't forget, there is a border guard whose job was to stop them from coming across. He should have asked for help, but because of government policies of anyone who can get there, they're allowed to go through. It's a crime for him to try to stop them, basically. He is to help them to come across.
And 30 minutes after that, another group. Over 4 days, we witnessed nearly 600 migrants, adults and children, pass through this hole and onto U.S. soil unchecked. We saw people from India, Vietnam, and Afghanistan. Many of the Chinese migrants who came through will end up asking for political asylum. Did you travel by yourself or with family or friends?
No, just me.
Just you.
Yeah.
The Gap is a global destination, littered with travel documents from around the world. With the help of a translator, we learned a little about the Chinese migrants coming through. Teaching? You're a teacher? Yeah. Oh my goodness. We also met a banker and small business owners. Some of the migrants made a grueling journey through Central America with dusty backpacks. But we noticed middle-class migrants from China arriving with rolling bags. They told us they took flights all the way to Mexico. Some flew from China to Ecuador because it doesn't require a visa for Chinese nationals, then took flights to Tijuana, Mexico. The migrants told us they connected with smugglers, or what they call snakeheads, in Tijuana. And they each paid them about $400 for the hour-long drive that ended here at the Gap. Why did you decide to come to the United States?
为什么要离开中国？就想来美国。
在那边不好过，在家里面不好过，
Oh, it's hard to live there.
找工作很难找现在。
Hard to find jobs.
What did you do? Did you work in China?
以前是在厂里面上班，现在厂里面都
They
不好
work in the
做。
factory, but now it's hard to work in the factory.
Was this trip
很多
expensive?
厂都倒闭了。
这次来会花很多钱啊。Yeah.
She said it was, and that she sold her house to cover the $14,000 cost of her trip to the U.S. Last year, U.S. Customs and Border Protection reported 37,000 Chinese citizens were apprehended crossing illegally from Mexico into the U.S.
37,000. You just added a regiment of people from a quote unquote area that's considered at this point in time, maybe not on paper, but an enemy of the U.S. Just think about that for a second, right? And this is why I'm saying what I'm saying, right? And remember, they did this a month ago. This has been ongoing for a long time. This has been ongoing for the last few years. It's been like this, right? 37,000. So when you look at this and you start going through it, it's not just, as you saw, there wasn't a lot of kids in that group that just came over. The majority of people that came over were between the ages of 20, maybe late teens, to about 40 years of age on average. And like I said, no, everyone there that came in was a sleeper cell soldier and all of these different things. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, you know nothing about these people. You know nothing about them, even to the point where you saw what they were doing. They were ditching all of their quote unquote paperwork. They were ditching passports. They were ditching anything that could identify them. They ditched it. This is insane. You're putting up the prerequisite for your own demise. Again, this was almost a year ago. I mean, excuse me, a month ago when they did this story. Now, everyone that was sending you would tell people about this. No. It's just families coming up out of Central America that were just doing X, Y, and Z and blah, 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 trying to get to a better life. No, it's not. And this is the proof, right? Or some of the proof, I should say. And that's because this and it continues, and you're welcome to go and take a look at it and check it out. Our third spot. This next person is a guy by the name of Patrick Bet David. He does a good show. If you get a chance to listen to his content, if you don't already, take a chance and listen to some of his content. It's pretty good. He's a knowledgeable guy about global events for sure, and also things in regards to business and other things. But I want you guys to hear this this clip from one of his shows, because it was pretty wild when I heard it. But I want you guys to listen and see what they are not telling you. Okay, what the media doesn't tell you. I want you guys to take a look at this as well. So let's see if we can pull that up. This, yeah, there it is. All right, take a listen. I want you guys to hear what he says.
Mayorkas on their second attempt, accusing him of failing to uphold immigration laws and lying to Congress about U.S.-Mexico border. The historic vote, 214 to 213, marks the first cabinet official impeachment in nearly 150 years. Despite facing impeachment, Mayorkas continues to say that he is focused on his duties and dismisses the allegations as baseless. Biden criticized the impeachment as blatant unconstitutional partisanship. Right. The impeachment effort highlights deep partisan divides with Republicans pushing forward. Anyways, Mayorkas ends up becoming a person, by the way, that also rejected Secret Service protection for RFK. Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas personally rejected an urgent appeal from independent presidential candidate RFK in a letter dated July 21st, 2023. 2 weeks after the urgent appeal, Mayorkas dismissed the request without any explanation. Now, keep in mind, this is a Kennedy that we're talking about. Simultaneously, these are illegal immigration in the States. If you show up the numbers here, Rob, look at the numbers. 2010 was 463,000 illegal immigrants. Next year, 340. Next year, 340, 360, then 420, then 486, then 337, then 415, then 310.
That's all
then
under Obama and Trump right there.
Then 859, then 405, and then all of a sudden,
Biden.
by
Wow.
1.9 million. Next year, 2.7 million. Next year, 3.2 million. And on track this year to shatter that record. It's so bad. Look who commented. Go a little bit lower to see. Elon Musk said insane.
Oh, that's
Even
cool.
Elon is noticing the fact that, I mean, the market is looking at this data. By the way, to continue on, Tom, go ahead.
Back up a second.
Yeah.
And before Adam said, hey, that's Trump, I want to make something clear. Trump owns 17, 18, 19, and 20 because he's not inaugurated until January. He fought. People say he didn't get the wall built and all these things. He fought, and they fought against him, which was what was going on in 19, and he pushed it back down.
Yep.
And then
That's a great observation.
and he was being fought by our Congress where it jumped up. That's what they wanted. And he actually pulled it back, and then he got unelected.
Well, I will give you credit on that. But also in 2020, there was that little thing that happened when people stopped moving around so much. You know, that whole COVID thing.
I just said
that a lot of times has to do with
they
what
were
numbers went down.
They were letting people in though during that, but they didn't have to wear masks.
By the
That
way,
was the whole
check this out. While this is going on, to add more, and then I want to open it up to you guys.
Yeah.
San Diego border agent arrests 269 Chinese migrants in a single day, underscoring the surge in Chinese nationals crossing U.S.-Mexico border. Despite contrast, starkly with the 2023 fiscal year's record of 37,000 Chinese migrants intercepted by CBP, with 2024 fiscal year already exceeding 20,000. Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you catch that? Did you catch that? So, right now, records are getting, so basically, the amount of people who have come online, basically come across that border over the last 3 years, equals what we have the total population for some states in the U.S. right now. Some states. There are certain counties in the U.S. that doesn't have 37,000 people. There are some states that don't have 3 million people in it. I want you to just think about that for a second. So you're allowing a lot of unknown variables to happen, but yet and still you're saying, when you look at this, yet and still you're saying that this is not a thing. But again, it's just women and children, because you look on the news and it's women and children that's being shown coming across the border. It's just women and children. It's just women and children. It's just women and children, or women and children and families. That's how they spin it. They're looking for a better life. It's women, children, and families. No, it's not. The average age of people coming across that border, as we speak, the average age is 24 and a half years of age. You don't know where they're coming from, and some of the places that they're coming from are areas that hate the U.S., that literally hate the U.S. Just to throw something back at you in regards to China, do you not think, because this is what happens in a communist regime, right? This is what happens. If you don't think some of those people are doing the bidding of the government of getting across here, if you don't think that that's the case, and they're doing it so certain areas of their family could be safe, and certain parts of their family can be taken care of, or they were being threatened, their family were being threatened if they didn't do it, you are you have so much cognitive dissonance. It's not even funny. But this is happening. So now they're going to tell you that the border is safe. And like I said, they're doing the State of the Union and how safe the border is and how we're, helping our fellow man. And, we're about compassion and love and everything else. They don't want. There's two things that they do not want. And that's both sides of the aisle. That's both sides of the aisle. This is Democrat and Republican. Those who are in power right now do not want U.S. sovereignty. They don't want America to be able to stand on its own. They want it to be part of a global situation. They want it to be part. They're all pretty much, with the exception of a few, they're all pretty much globalists. They want to be in a one world government because they believe that's what's best for mankind. And so they move in that way. So everything that they do, the open borders, the medicine and healthcare for all, and all of these different things that they're doing, right? Eat your plant-based, get your plant-based vitamins and your plant-based foods and plant-based meats, and eat your crickets and all of these different things. Is because, and the reason why they pumping us with the amount of drugs that they do, right? All of those things are to make a fragile people that is easily controlled. And we see it being set up because what most people feel understand that's going to happen is, yes, there is going to be a one world government. The question is when, but it's going to happen. And so we continue.
That is insane. Simultaneously, this is San Diego, California. Some of you may say, well, what does New York have to do anything with the border? Look at New York. FBI warns MS-13 and brutal Venezuelan migrant gang could join forces in New York City. The FBI's warning of this alliance between the two, Tren de Aragua and the notorious MS-13, expressing concerns about their collaboration as its criminal activities, particularly cell phone theft in New York City. Agent John Morales emphasizes the FBI's monitoring the gang growth, highlighting the possibility of temporary alliances between the two gangs. So again, it's not just happening to the southern border. Other states are also feeling this. Adam.
So, what's interesting, we watched the Super Bowl at Valuetainment Studio, and it was awesome. It was an amazing thing. And a lot of PHP folks were there. And I sat there. Remember, we were sitting in the cigar lounge. I don't know if you saw who I was sitting next to, one of your top PHP guys. I don't want to say his name because he didn't want to really disclose this, but it starts with an R. You know who I'm talking about. He makes a lot of money, and he's, you know who it is. And I said, hey, look, you're an immigrant. You came from a country in Latin America. I don't know if I should say the country, but it's the same country as MS-13. It's from El Salvador. You know who I'm talking about. And I said, look, bro, you came here legally, right? Of course. Give me your perspective on what's happening in the border. You're a proud Latin American. You've made a lot of money. You used to be a security guard making, minimum wage. Now you're making millions of dollars. You are the American dream. He's gone from being very ordinary to incredibly extraordinary. I said, make sense of what's going on at the border here. He goes, it's all criminals. It's all criminals. I said, how could you say that? He goes, because they are. I said, what do you mean by that? I said, some of these people, and I'm giving him pushback, but also trying to understand. He goes, I said, you have to admit that some of these people are here to have better lives. He goes, yeah, a percentage of them. I said, give me the percentage that you think, as a proud Latin American person from El Salvador who's moved here, who's come here legally, give me your perspective. He goes, 20% are coming to have a better life. 20% are coming to escape what they're escaping. 80% of them, straight up criminals. I said, how could you say that shocking number? He goes, I stand by that. He goes, I can't say these types of things out loud myself but this is what I stand for. And Mara Salvatrucha, however you say it,
Mara
MS-13
Salvatrucha.
yeah, MS-13, they are brutal. They're disgusting. I don't even want to show some images of these guys, just MS-13. They are as violent and as ridiculous and as,
dude,
he basically just said they are pure evil.
It sounds
they're not trafficking. They're not selling drugs is what he says. Is that they just want crime. And you got to give a shout out to Nayib Bukele, the new president or the ongoing president. I think he just got reelected, did he not? Or in El Salvador, for putting these people in jail. These people are just straight up criminals. And this is who's coming in our country at the border. Take it away, Vinny.
It kind of, I don't know. It sounds like that guy, his weird blonde hair, when he said, and I quote, "They're not sending their best." Somebody warned us.
I wanted to throw that last piece and let that last piece play out, because one of the things that you see again is not the part where it's the people that are coming over, all of them, that 20 to 80% that one guy was talking about. I don't believe it's the 20 to 80%. And the one guy that's there who said that, he probably is, he's for his, in his mindset, he's right. But the amount of people that are coming across, you have the people, like I said, you have people that are coming over that are seeking better lives, and then you have those that don't. And the problem is that you don't know which one is which. There's no vet of anything or anyone. I know people personally who are here illegally. Personally, I know that. Good people. They're just out here trying to make a living. But the fact of the matter is, it's the ones that you don't know. When you say that over the last 3 years, close to 7 million people have come over that haven't been vetted, but have been free to roam straight in, doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense if you're looking for things to be more on a global stage. So the next spot that we have, and we're gonna run through a couple of these. That's not going to be one of them. So a lot of the things that they're showing, oh, that was loud. So a lot of the things else that they have gone through, and they're talking about where the places are set up within New York, within Chicago, within other areas around the U.S. that they filled in with the sanctuary cities and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff that you have going through right now, and what you begin to see is, and it's been, like I said, you're seeing a lot of things that have been coming through. Yeah. So you had one, they had a spot that's in New York where they were living in the basement of a furniture store. A lot of people that they brought in, now they're starting to evict them. And in the places where they're evicting them, they're basically evicting them out to the streets because they can't find a quote unquote spot for them. Other places where they have them, and they have them going into other areas, right? And just kind of going, areas again. It's California, it's Texas, it's New York, it's Illinois, and everything else. And this is the last one, and this is from a newscast called Stealth. Now, here's the deal. Let me see if I can get this up and play. Check this out. What parts of fear-mongering lie? Or are you just saying that sarcastically? So here's the next part.
Has temporarily blocked a tough new immigration law in Texas from taking effect today. The law gives state officials the power to arrest migrants who cross into Texas illegally.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
In a world where borders define nations, the U.S.-Mexico boundary has become a flashpoint of unprecedented challenge. With 175,000 migrants poised to cross, the U.S. Army prepares for an operation unlike any before, marking a critical moment in border security history. This development echoes Texas's long-standing efforts to secure its borders against a backdrop of federal inaction, highlighting a complex tapestry of political, humanitarian, and security concerns. What unfolds could redefine the boundary between safety and sanctuary. Operation Lone Star unveiled. In the heart of Texas, a bold initiative named Operation Lone Star, OSS, was launched to confront the growing crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border. This unprecedented surge in illegal border crossings, with numbers reaching nearly 4 million encounters since January 2021, prompted Texas to take decisive action. Governor Greg Abbott, seeing the federal response as insufficient, unveiled OSS in March 2021, marking a significant escalation in the state's approach to border security. The operation's core objective was clear: to protect Texas's sovereignty, security, and safety, thereby addressing not just the state's concerns, but also those of the nation at large. Operation Lone Star was designed as a multifaceted strategy, deploying the Texas National Guard alongside state law enforcement agencies to assist in securing the border. This move aimed to supplement the efforts of the overwhelmed Border Patrol, providing much-needed reinforcement in managing the escalating situation. The operation emerged against a backdrop of increasing migrant apprehensions, attributed to various factors including the strong U.S. labor market and the lack of legal avenues for lower-skilled immigrants, as well as the broader implications of violence and economic despair in their home countries. The strategic deployment under OSS included not just personnel, but also advanced technology and substantial financial investment, with projections indicating spending could reach around $2 billion per year at its peak. This financial commitment underscored Texas's determination to take a stand where they felt the federal government had faltered. By enhancing border security operations and deterring illegal crossings, Texas aimed to send a strong message about its seriousness in addressing the challenges at the border. Through Operation Lone Star, Texas not only sought to safeguard its own borders, but also aimed to highlight and mitigate the broader national security and humanitarian issues stemming from unchecked illegal immigration. Financial muscle and commitment. In the face of a mounting crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border, Texas has taken a bold and unprecedented step towards securing its boundary against an expected surge of 175,000 migrants. The cornerstone of this monumental effort is Operation Lone Star, OSS, a comprehensive border security initiative launched.
All right, so that's what Texas did. Now here's the deal. How successful has it been? I can honestly tell you, it has been partially successful at most. But that's because every place that you've seen, especially in the areas that you've seen in the video, the majority of that was if 100%, if the places that they're showing mainly were the checkpoint areas that Texas was dealing with, you still have that whole, those big areas that there are no checkpoints. There are big, huge areas that do not have the quote unquote, like you saw, like the razor wire and all that other stuff. It doesn't have that area. And that's just from looking down toward that end, right? So you still have all of those places in New Mexico. You still have a lot of places in Arizona. And again, you have the areas within California that are not protected. There is no wall, razor wire, anything else. The areas are pretty much the most treacherous areas. They don't really guard. and they'll try to hold it off by just saying if they're able to make it through that, then they kind of deserve it. Whereby the other areas where you see them crossing through walls and trying to climb in walls and trying to go through areas where the razor wire and barbed wire and stuff like that, well, those are the most places because they feel like they can still get over in those areas. So it all comes, and the reason why I'm dropping this in is because you're getting an oversaturation. And again, you don't have an area where the people are being vetted. If it was an area where people were being vetted, it would be one thing. But to say that you're allowing close to, anywhere from, on estimate, again, they're saying 3 to 4 mil. But again, keep in mind, that's what comes in at the checkpoints. That's what's coming in areas where people just say, hey, we're here, we want asylum, because that's what they were told to say. But it has nothing to do with the other areas whereby people are running through and they come in with no, they might catch them every blue moon, but there's no way for them to vet it. And they're not trying to. And it's mainly because them trying to have this push for this globalist agenda. And so that's what they want. Where they want to conserve and put themselves in a position of power, hold on to their position of power, institute a new voting block. You even have certain areas, I believe, like California, if I'm not mistaken, was allowing illegals to vote in local elections, and also soon to try to make it. They were trying to push for them to be able to vote in federal elections as well. And so again, this would turn the specific tide of certain areas. It would turn the tide. And this is why I was saying what I was saying. The push for certain things, like a lot of people were screaming about, in terms of things like, especially in the Black community, and things in regards to things like reparations and stuff like that. We won't pay you anything. We'll let you scream into the ether. But if we can get a new voting block that would be to our benefit, then you could basically go to whatever corner you're in, scream to the ether until you rot, basically. And this is what we see. And so when we've looked in areas about, you look through the areas and, First Kings, Second Kings, Chronicles within the Bible, stuff like that, and you see the talk and you see the things when people started living, the rulership and the people were living corruptly, the downfall starts to happen. And that's one of the things that most people don't understand. And that's why, even the scripture tells us, when it says a little leaven leavens the whole lump, right? In other words, you take some yeast, you bloom it, and you put it into a dough, the dough is going to rise. It doesn't matter how much yeast you put in. It's either going to rise a little or it's going to rise a lot, but either which way it's going to rise, right? Or any type of leavening agent, when you put it into dough, it's going to rise. It's going to react to. It's going to have a reaction, and this is what we're seeing right now. Things were at a steady pace until it wasn't into a steady pace anymore. And now, basically, as the saying goes, it's kind of been an outkicking of coverage. So what is the end result? What are they looking for? Again, it's mainly when you really get down to it, it's the setup for the one world government that'll eventually be ruled by the Antichrist. That's what it's all about. It's all of the setup for that. The reason why AI has been even though AI is known to be not the best thing to be used at this given point in time, there's still things that need to be done with AI. They've already started implementing it and putting things forward into a lot of your everyday life that you probably don't even notice yet. Right. And so these things that, it's already have people, excuse me, that have been put into compromising positions. Right. And it's been basically been put out that the stuff that happened to him was deep faked. Right. It was stuff that was created, but it wasn't actually true. But it looked like it really happened. It looked like it was a real thing. Hey, Ane, how you doing? And so because of that, and then people's disregard for each other, right? It teaches in the scripture that the love of many soon, as it goes through this great fall in the way that is to come, he says the love of many will wax cold, right? Why is that? It's because for the simple fact that the things that happen will make people in their mind really just look out for themselves instead of looking out for others as well. So all of these things play into what's being set up. And you look at things like what China has brewing right now with the social credit scores and stuff that they have right now, where you're able to do certain things, but if you go against the government in any type of way, or you do things what they consider to not be socially acceptable, it drops your score. So you're no longer able to move in certain ways and into certain areas. You're not able to travel, you're not able to take on certain positions, things of that nature, right? All of these different things. And so when you finally understand that, then it starts to make more sense on why certain things are being allowed, and also why certain things are being implemented. So we've been rolling for an hour and 22 minutes now. So I hope that you guys were able to get something out of this tonight. Sorry, I had to sneeze. But I hope and pray you guys were able to get something out of this tonight and be able to see certain things that are going down and the reasons why they're going down. We like to see, it's in our nature sometimes to try to see the good in people and in good in situations and everything else. And there is, in pretty much all situations, there is certain things that are good versus certain things that are bad. But nothing is rarely that any good fruit comes from a bad tree. It just really doesn't happen. So no matter how many times people say things in regards to it's for the greater good, no good fruit comes from a bad tree. And I think what we're seeing right now, even with all of the lies and propaganda and things that are being displayed in today's world, that when you peel back the layers of the onion, you begin to see exactly the things that are going on, right? And so we must take those things into account, and we must move accordingly, as the scripture tells us. Deeming the time, because the days are evil. So with that being said, thank you guys for being here tonight. I pray that the things that were, like I said, the things that were mentioned here, gives you the chance to put some thought behind it. Look at the things that are happening. Read the scriptures, see how it lines up, right? What is this? What is the beginning of these things that we are coming across? And how does it play in the days to come, right? I wish I could open up the lines tonight and we can have a discussion about it, but I can't. But I would be willing to answer anything tomorrow night during Testimony Friday and have that discussion even then. And we can get even deeper in regards to the things that we've seen tonight, how it adds up to scripture, all of these pieces of information. But thank you guys for being here. You guys have a great rest of your evening. God willing, we will see you in the morning for the morning read and also for Testimony Friday. Tomorrow, I think it starts at 10:30 on the East Coast. I believe it is. 11:30 on the East Coast. But it's tomorrow night. So God willing, we'll be able to all meet again for both. So with that being said, guys have a great rest of your night. Grace and peace. Talk with you guys later.